be shorter than the other ones. It's something that takes a little bit more time for you to do, but should be shorter for me to explain. So let's dive right in. I have two files open right now, the one that I've been working on with everybody, and then the one that I had made prior, just as like my initial like test on the project, if you will. And I want to show you this just as a final result and then do it with you on my other one. What I did was I used this thing called a layer mask to kind of like hide elements of my text as if things from the photo were in front of it. So if I zoom in here just to kind of showcase, this astronaut's helmet is in, well, what I did was I hid or layer masked out the text that originally went above the astronaut's helmet. That way as to make it look like it was behind it. I can kind of reverse the effect here just to show you what I mean. There it is. The text was once above the helmet, but I use this thing that I'll explain to you today called a layer mask to put it behind it. I didn't really use it a whole lot. Besides the helmet, that's all I did up top, and then down at the bottom where Elon Musk's name was, I did the exact same thing by kind of masking out to make it look like the text was coming up over the hill. So, how to do that? Well, before we do, we have one little extra step that I kind of forgot to tell you guys to do in the previous video. Now that all of your layer effects here are all settled and everything like that, what you can do is right-click on the layer itself. Again, right-clicking is 2 fingers pressed down on the trackpad at the same time. And you want to possibly might have to scroll down to find this. Yeah, wow. There's a lot of options nowadays. To scroll. It was the same way to scroll around inside Photoshop to like move your canvas around. Place 2 fingers, don't press, but place 2 fingers down on the trackpad and then move them up or down at the same time. And you'll see like a scroll effect happen. I want you to go pretty close to the bottom and you're going to see copy layer style right there. Go ahead and click that. Now, if you go to your other text, if you have a second text that is, right click that, scroll all the way down and you're going to see paste layer style. It'll give you the exact same effect on both things. So that way it keeps that whole like neon look going. All right. Also too, if you don't like all this information with all these like drop shadows and inner glows, this little up arrow here can kind of help you like minimize that just to keep your layers a little bit more organized. It's still there, just kind of like collapses it. Go and select your main text. We'll start with that one together. And what we're going to do is we're going to add a layer mask to it. One of the most important things in Photoshop, it may have already come up in a project. I don't know order of projects this year, so forgive me. Right here is the layer mask, the circle inside a rectangle, kind of. If you click that while you have the layer selected, you'll see this box appear here. That is the layer mask. The biggest thing I can really tell you with layer masks that accidentally happen a lot with people is sometimes they'll have the proper layer itself selected and not the mask. If you look at these two things, you can tell which one I have selected because I have this like little box that goes around each one. With a layer mask, this will make so much more sense when I tell you it or show you it, but you can either draw with black or white. And if you draw with black, it hides or masks the content. And if you draw with black, it masks the content. If you draw with white, it brings it back or shows it. A lot of the times people will end up just straight up drawing black or white rather than, masking because they're taking black and white and they're trying to draw, but they don't have the mask selected. So you'll see more of that as we get into this. So what I want you to do is create that mask on your quote, right? And then we're going to use the brush tool. The brush tool is located right here, kind of like no more than like a little bit more than quarter way down. You could hit B, like the letter B is in Bumblebee or B movie, and that will also select it as well. Your type of brush that we're using is going to be pretty key for this, in my opinion. And your brush window is right up here where, for me, it says 500 anyway. That's just because of the size of my brush currently. If you click this drop-down arrow, you'll see all the different kind of brushes. They're organized by folders in Photoshop. Some of these are other ones for different projects that we might be doing in the future or even past, perhaps. The one I want you to look for is called Hard Round. It should be your second brush. Has a nice, strong edge to it. Okay, so you can go ahead and double click that if you want to close the window. The only other setting with brush that matters is all the way at the top here. Opacity, like before, is literally like how transparent something is. You want that to be 100%. The one that we also want to make 100% that might not be by default is flow. That'll give you kind of like helps with that more crisper edge. Doesn't really leave a whole lot of like little like strays here and there. Also, your brush circle right here. There are plenty different ways to change the size of your brush. Mine again right now is 500. Yours might be smaller. You could go back up into here and you will see size. And you could decrease the size by the slider. You could type it in and you can see here. In my opinion, the best way is the bracket keys. I think we would have done this by now in Illustrator for the year, but just in case if not, look at the letter P on your keyboard. P is in Peter. And to the right of that, you have left bracket and right bracket. Left bracket, if you hit it, will make your brush circle smaller. And the right bracket, if you hit it, will make it bigger. You could hold it down as well, so you don't have to like tap like a madman. All right, last little bit of setting will be your colors. Down here in the bottom left, you probably should have black and white. If not, go ahead and change them both to black and white by clicking on it and then moving, the thing to stark white and stark black. To swap these two, because one is your primary color and the other one is your secondary, you could either hit this icon right here that swaps the two, or you could tap X on the keyboard, and that will also swap your two colors. I'm going to zoom in. Zooming in again, Command plus, in my opinion, is the best way to zoom in. And scroll on over, to here. And what I'm going to do is kind of make it look like the electricity bolt is in front of my text. So my brush is too big right now, in my opinion, so we're going to downsize it pretty small. And I'm just going to go ahead, and what's great about this is if you make any mistakes, it's so easy to undo. It's ridiculously easy, because you just take white, and then you just draw back over it, and voila. So this should create a pretty cool thing. I hope, anyway. We'll see how obnoxious this is. Anyway, depending on what your photo is, it could, be a lot. My other one wasn't much. This looks like it's going to be a little bit more work. As you can see, I think I erased too much of the text here, so I'm going to switch to white by just hitting X. And I'm going to bring back some into the C. That looks cool. I'm a fan. This looks nuts. We'll see what happens down here. I really don't know. And the good news, this is why I love layer masks, is you can just wing it and it truly doesn't matter. I think that's good. I'm going to hit X though and take a really tiny brush and see if I can bring just a little bit back in there. Yeah, cool. Cool. And maybe a little bit more right there. All right, I'm going to hit X again because I want to go back to black. I'm going to take that out. Maybe what I can do is just kind of go on the sides and touch things up. This is where, like I said, I want to give you guys a lot of time today to perfect this. I'm going to minimize back out and just kind of show you what it can look like. I think that's so much better with it. Let me see if I can hide the layer mask. Don't do this. This is just to show you. Ready? This is with the layer mask. That's without it. It's definitely better with, in my opinion. Let me go ahead and bring that baby back. Yeah, look at that. Without, with. I still have to do these letters. I don't want to take your time up in the video. I'm going to go ahead and do those. I'll be able to show you kind of what it looks like afterwards. If you want to do it to your bottom text, you would have to make a layer on this, or layer mask on this one again. And a layer mask is right down here. You'd hit that. It would pop up on that text as well, and you do the exact same thing with the brush tool. So in the next video, we're going to start that after everybody finishes doing any layer masks to kind of hide elements of their text. When you are done today, though, make sure that you go to File Save as always. Make sure that your work is saved and ready to go. In the next step, we're just going to be adding kind of other, I would say text effects, more like image effects that really kind of pop this thing as we finalize it. All right, guys, have fun. Take care.